Now, around the world, the future of historic cities everywhere is at risk. This is the argument of art historian Salvatore Settis, who explores this in his latest book, If Venice Dies. Using his own city of Venice, he argues that mass tourism is replacing the city's unique historic places and boutique shops. On top of that, he says a growing number of Venetians are abandoning their hometown with only one resident for every 140 visitors. Well, I'm joined now here in the studio by Professor Settis, who, as I said, is an archaeologist, art historian and chairman of the Louvre Museum Scientific Council. Thanks very much, Professor, for joining us here on the programme.
Thank you.
Your book is called If Venice Dies, and really we want to help our audience understand what that means, because when you think about Venice dying, I mean, people would think, is it sinking?
No, what I mean is different. A city is made of body and soul. The body is the architecture of the city, the palaces, but the soul are its citizens, and Venice is abandoned by its citizens. It used to have 170 plus people living in it 50 years ago, and now there are 50,000, and 1,000 people are living in Venice every year. So Venice is losing their citizens.
Why?
Because it's too expensive to live there, because a lot of people are buying second homes, and tourism has become the only source of revenue for people, or creative jobs are gradually destroyed or emarginated. So I think that this is what the process that threatens to kill Venice in some way, which I hope will never happen.
There's a really interesting a few lines that you've got in the book, which I think sums it up, but it's quite beautiful but sad as well. So you say that a city dies if it's invaded, or if it's colonized, or if the citizens who live there become strangers to that city. Could you explore that thought a little bit further?
Yes, I think that when cities have a decreasing number of citizens, they risk losing their historical memory, their cultural memory, which is like for human beings losing memories of our own youth, of the first 10 or 15 years of our life.
Or our identity.
Our identity, which means that slowly Venice risks losing the memory of what it was, of what it used to be. And it used to be a city for great creative forces which are no longer in place. There is something there, of course. There are artists, but not as much as
and is this happening with the younger current generation?
The current generation, they are normally, unless they are wealthy, they are coming from wealthy families, they are normally unable to live in Venice. So they move to the terraferma, to Marghera or Mestre, and they come to Venice to go to the university or something every day, but they don't live any longer in Venice, and there is no policy put in place by either the city government or the Italian government in order to encourage people to live in Venice and to make creative jobs in Venice increase.
Are we at a point of no return with a city like Venice? Because if you're saying that the local council or the government is not investing in changing that, are we now going down a path where we could lose Venice and its history and its tradition?
Well, I hope not, and the reason why I wrote this book is precisely for a plea for people to think about it and to stop this process before it is too late. But for now, the very fact that 1,000 people every year are living in the city makes the danger more and more imminent. And it is very strange to my mind that the local government doesn't want to take notice of what's going on under their eyes.
Your focus is Italy and Venice, but as an archaeologist, as a historian, you'd be seeing this in other parts of the world as well.
Yes, of course. When in this book, while the book is stories about Venice, even in the title. I'm trying to make a more general discourse about the future of historical cities. Historical cities are threatened by a model of development based on megalopolises, on skyscrapers, and on indeterminate growth. What will happen of historical cities?
Indeed.
I hope that something happens,
them.
and Venice can be representative.
Professor Settis, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us here on the programme. Now, before we